Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to the Big Dude Energy Podcast. This is going to be, I think, episode 1. Last time was episode 0. We're actually doing it now. I am Andy Neal, and with me is the one, the only...
Tommy Nicholson. Andy, how are you, man? Great to see you, dude.
You too, man. You too. If you've been following me on social media, you know my life has been crazy, and I'm glad we're able to really get this going. We got a name, Big Dude Energy, and we're going to do this. Have a podcast.
If you missed our pilot episode, we started without a name of our podcast, and we ended up with Big Dude Energy, which I love. It's a great name, and it's very cool to see. I went back and listened to the episode of how we came up with it. You just watch it flourish from our brains. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was organic. It's nice, and it fits in. It's got some pop culture references in there. It worked out perfectly. I loved it. So yeah. So what are we getting into this week? I know we're both in kind of entertainment adjacent industries. Both of us went to film school. So I think we talk about entertainment this week.
Yeah, you know the Oscars a couple weeks ago. Lots of exciting things there, and I feel like we're in a lull of content coming out that's new. So I think there's an important conversation going on with people right now of, hey, what are you watching that I haven't heard of? You know, because there's so much out there that what am I missing? And I'm seeing a lot of that, especially last year we were in the strike, so we don't have any content coming out for the last year. Now we're on what they're calling a studio slowdown. So there's not a lot of stuff coming out new. So yeah, I mean, it's talking about what's old and maybe something we missed. I do want to say though, as you know, I'm a member of the Directors Guild in SAG-AFTRA. So I get all the screeners sent to me. So it's like lazy man's award season. I can actually, a lot of it's digital now. They send you a code and you download an app on the Roku. And I saw almost all of the Oscar nominated movies. And I don't know how much you have seen. But there was, some people called it a slow year. I think it was quality, not quantity this year. But Poor Things is something. Have you had a chance to watch Poor Things?
I did, and I was not a fan of who won the Best Actress on that.
Wow.
I was not.
That was the one award. I was like, for sure, Emma Stone needs to win this award. It's funny, and that's one that you disagree with.
Yeah, Lily Gladstone. I love. I have my issues with Killers of the Flower Moon, the way it ended, especially. But Lily Gladstone's performance was so nuanced and so just there, and I felt like Emma Stone was just so over the top and felt very cartoonish to me. I was like,
this is what I think. I think the role, if the role lends it to itself, right? And that role, a baby's brain, a kid that's growing up at warp speed, it lended it. She took a big swing. And I love a big swing, especially when it works. So, but hey, this is one thing we know about Hollywood and art. It's all taste.
Subjective.
See, I thought Lily Gladstone did a great job, but I think to win an Oscar Best Performance, the role and the story of the movie played a big part of it, because you could be great, but if the character is written and there's no way to show depth of a character, but the great thing about like Poor Things, that character was written to have a huge transformation in a short part of time. I mean, that was literally the deal with the movie. So she got to really play with that. I did like the social commentary on Poor Things, and I think Willem Dafoe was fantastic.
I think it was a strategic mistake for Killers of the Flower Moon to put Lily Gladstone up for Best Actress. While I think she still had the best performance out of everyone in that category, she was only in about a quarter of the screen time of that film, the very, very long film. Best Supporting Actress would have been she would have locked that down.
I agree. Who did win?
Who did win that?
It wasn't Jodie Foster, was it?
No.
My
Oh no, it was from the Holdovers.
Oh yes, yes. Which I actually really liked her performance. I did have an issue being from Boston that I thought it was the accent threw me off a little bit that she was trying to pull off. Most people that I talked to, including other Massachusetts people, were happy with the accent. So maybe I
Yeah.
was being a little critical
Divine Joy
of it.
Randolph.
Yes, yes, and she was
Yes.
fantastic, and as was Jodie Foster in
Yeah.
Naiad, which I thought was really good.
Which I love seeing a plus size individual win Oscars and be recognized. I will say that for you don't
Yeah,
you don't see bigger people ever getting nominated half the time.
and they put her in the first row, which is nice because you have the leg room at the Oscars. But the chairs are so small, and I was just if I ever go and like can't fit in the seat, I'm just gonna be like, pull up a folding chair. I want to be comfortable, right? Like she did not look comfortable. The person on either side of her didn't look comfortable. So Oscars, you can do better because we're coming.
Was that in the Dolby?
I think yes, I believe
Dolby,
that
yeah.
was yeah. But I
Because
want
I know at the Chinese theater I've sat in there and that is not comfortable. So
yeah, most of the older theaters aren't. So
yeah.
Oscars, we can be better about getting better seating for our plus size people because we're coming. We're coming.
Yep. Yep.
We're on
Exactly.
our way.
I always try to make sure I get front row or aisle on everything just so I can like at
Yeah.
least have circulation on one of my legs.
Yeah, yeah. Especially as you get older, the knees start hurting.
So what do you think about Best Picture this year?
I pretty much thought Oppenheimer was going to win,
Yeah.
and I'm glad they did. This is so. I talk about the person I talk to movies a lot is my best friend Brendan, and we have a strong dialogue on movies. And he saw it in movie theaters. And he was like, it was good. It was long, and I waited till came out in streaming, and I watched it in three different. I watched an hour, paused it, got
Mhm.
up, ran some errands, grabbed the snack. Then I watched another hour of it, and then it's really three movies. And I loved it, but I think it's because I paced it out, and I wasn't in a
Yeah.
theater getting antsy. I was relaxing at my own house to watch it. So I think it should have been a mini series, but I get it. He wouldn't be eligible for an Oscar.
Yeah.
I think he also should have done a intermission, which some movie theaters in the US were doing intermissions,
And they're getting in
but
trouble.
they got sued. They got
Yeah.
sued by Nolan. And look, I think Nolan's a genius who can't do wrong, but I think he needs to, if you're going to keep people coming into theaters and you want them to be there for 3 hours and you want theaters to survive, have an
Yeah.
intermission. Let people go get drinks and food and come back in and spend more money.
And I
You know,
posted about this on Threads. Like this is as movies are trying to compete with streaming, where they have these, 8 episode long series, movies are just going to get longer. And not only that, people are used to being able to, pause a movie. Then they're like, why would I go to a movie theater, watch Killers of the Flower Moon 3.5 hours when it's going to be out on Apple TV in a month anyways? I can watch it there. I can pause it, go refill my drink, use the restroom, come back and watch it on my 72-inch surrounds. So they need to have some sort of incentive for theaters and for theater goers to go.
yes.
Not only that, it's a win-win for the theaters. You have an intermission, you got 15 minutes. What are you going to go do? You're going to use the restroom, you're going to buy a refill, you're going to buy more popcorn. I don't
A lot.
understand why. As an auteur, I get it. It's one big thing. I get that, but business wise, it's smart money to put
Yeah.
in 10-15 minute intermissions.
A lot of theaters around here now they have bars, and
Oh yeah.
it's you're gonna that overhead right there, the amount of money you're making, the margins are huge. That I think we need to reimagine the movie theater, and I think movie theaters need to demand if you're over 90 minutes, hour and a half, if you're
Yep.
over, I don't know, maybe hour 45, if you hit the 2 hour mark, you're getting an intermission. Anything over 2 hours is
And
you're
then
getting an intermission, or you're not coming to the theater. They need to put their foot down so filmmakers start thinking about that. And I think creatively it's nice because they call it the third act lag or the second act lag, like in between the second and third acts is always a lag. That's a good point to, if you can stop right before that relax, go get some food, come back, and then start in that what we would call a lag would now be a re-ramp of the story.
Which I mean, you go to Broadway. I live, in Ashland, Oregon. You have the Oregon Shakespeare Festival and the greatest repertory theaters this side of Mississippi. I see 12 plays a year there alone. And we have, after the second act, there's always that intermission. And you're seeing a 3-hour play, even a 2.5-hour play. You're gonna have that intermission, and what does everybody do? They use the restroom, they refill their wine, they get more snacks, and they come back. It makes financial sense if you're trying to keep movie theater experience going. Broadway figured it out a long time ago. Why can't Hollywood figure it out?
I think it could help the creative. So instead of fighting it, Nolan saying, "Oh no intermission," or it might not have been him, it might have been the production company, but it came from somewhere.
It was Nolan.
Yeah, then start creating it as part of the creative, like work it into where the movie is going to take a breath. And almost like shows used to have a commercial break. They would know when they're going to break, so they would be able to peak the scenes and then go to commercial. So knowing that as a filmmaker ahead of time I think it's a tool that you use. The other thing I think movie theaters should do is when there's big shows out, like there are shows I would have loved to see some of the episodes in theaters. Did you watch Fall of the House of Usher?
I didn't. No.
It is. I'm not a horror guy, and it's only horror for the first like 5 minutes. There's a creepy scene. The rest of it is like more thriller with some horror elements into it, but it is based on the works of Edgar Allan Poe. So they took all the morals of Edgar Allan Poe's stories and put them into a series. It is filmed beautifully, and the scenes are epic, and the story is amazing. I would have loved if they had done, okay, on week one, because a lot of these shows, and I think this was Netflix, so this was all dumped at once, but Hulu, Amazon, and Apple TV, some of them are doing once a week, right? They're dropping one a week. So if you did on the first episode, we're going to release 2 episodes in the movie theater, right? On a Friday night. You watch one, intermission, come back, watch the other, right? And you started having a social aspect to showing up on Friday nights to a movie theater. Especially some of these nice ones have food, and if not, it's a date night. You go out, you go to dinner. Oh, what's our favorite show right now? It's coming out Friday. They're going to show the first 2 episodes. We're going to be ahead. So they
exactly
premiere.
Yeah.
You got to get streaming series into theaters somehow, and I think it would be fun to go watch 1 or 2, especially with people that are fans of the show, right? That's the big thing. I mean, Taylor Swift Eras Tour. There's a lot to be learned from there. First of all, nailed it in theaters. I mean, I went to the show here at
me too,
and it was incredible. It was incredible to be there. But then they went to theaters for people who couldn't go to shows, right? And wanted a real experience. But they were a community.
Yeah,
at the movie theater, sing-alongs. They're doing bracelets.
Oh, I was there with my daughter, my 10-year-old daughter. We went opening night. Had to buy it like the first second they came out, sold out almost immediately, and like the whole 30 minutes leading up to it, all the kids there, they're trading bracelets. I ended up with like 8 bracelets. Like it was just fun, and everyone's singing along, standing up. Taylor Swift and her team are freaking genius, and now it's on freaking Taylor's versions on Disney Plus with 5 songs you didn't get from that.
Right. That it was so brilliantly thought out and executed from marketing standpoint, everything. So amazing live show, right? Okay. How do we capture that live show in a cinematic way? I think they nailed it. Now let's put it in theaters so people have an experience. People want to be around other people. It was like going to a concert. I mean, it was, then tier number 3, let's release it on Apple TV or Disney Plus.
Disney Plus, yeah.
And I watched it. I had nothing to watch the other day, and I threw it on, and I just stopped, and I was almost in tears. I swear to God, watching the opening of the show, and it was actually the SoFi where I was the beginning of it. I didn't get through the whole thing, but there was a lot from the concert I was at, and I got the chills. Right now, I'm getting the chills up my spine, and I get excited and like almost teary eyed on that. I'm reliving that experience. Now I can relive it in my living room, where if I start crying, I'm not judged as much as if I'm at a concert or a theater. they cracked the code. We need to take a a page from their book and put that into how can we be in theaters and in streaming? How can that
Mhm.
coexist?
Yep.
And it's extras and different. I know people go to movie theaters to be immersed, which is great. If there's a
Yeah.
Marvel movie, and but for a long drama, 3 hours. No, I haven't watched a lot of Marvel movies. Are they generally around 2 hours?
They're about 2.5, between 2.5 and 3 hours. And the thing
Yeah.
about the Taylor Swift era, so it reminded me of the early days of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where we used to go, we'd stand in line in lawn chairs and wait to get our good seats because before you could like reserve seats and everyone was just there. It was this like community aspect. People would be dressed up, have your Marvel shirt on, and then everybody afterwards would go out, go out to dinner and talk about how does this connect with that. Now it's you can't even keep up anymore because there's you have to watch these three streaming
Well,
shows, and
Barbie did it. Barbie did it in
Barbie
theaters. A
did
lot of people
too.
dressed in pink. There was a lot
Yep.
of like cosplay. I'm starting to see research, or not really a resurgence. For the first time, you're seeing mainstream cosplay. Now,
Mhm.
obviously, we've seen it and we've been part of that community. But to the average American, I'm not sure cosplay is a thing that's been on the radar. But now you're seeing people wearing pink to Barbie or
Yeah.
bracelets, and you're starting to see those things. And I think that's interesting thing. I think coming back together post COVID is where movie theaters could shine. And I think having these big cinematic series that are going across the board, that we should be, I would love to go see an episode or two of
Yeah.
one of my favorite shows. What if Succession did that every
Like
week?
even
Every week, remember how huge the last month of Succession was? If every week they had come and see it early screening or whatever at
it would sell
at the
out.
movie theater, oh, it would sell out, and you don't have to charge a bunch of money, but
Yeah. You know what
you keep
Netflix
that.
needs to do? The last season of Stranger Things. It would, because this is the last season coming up here. They put that out in theaters like around
Yeah.
October. It would be huge, and to see that on a big screen, I like I know like my daughter loves the series Wednesday when for the season 2 for Wednesday comes out and they put it
Yeah.
in theaters. Like I mean, she's obsessed. Has T-shirts, has the Wednesday cookbook, like everything. She's obsessed. It seems like a no brainer. I just don't know why they haven't done it yet.
Yeah. Well, now you're really seeing a large commingling of other ideas. Barbie was obviously a toy made into a movie, and you're seeing all these things. And now I don't know if you saw Five Nights at Freddy's. Am I saying
I
that?
haven't seen it, but I know that
FNAF,
I know
Five
this.
Nights
Yeah.
at Freddy's. Yeah, that started like a weird online video, then it became a game,
Hmm.
and then it's this phenomenon. And that's the origin of a story can come from anywhere,
Hmm.
right?
Yep.
And I think that's really exciting, especially Barbie, where they got best adapted screenplay because it was adapted from a toy. That was like they were nominated for.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think of Barbie? Speaking of which,
I loved it. I thought it was advertised so well, and they really played up the Barbenheimer thing, which was great. But the film itself, it was just freaking genius. It was themed. It kept me engaged the whole time. The pacing was amazing. The performances were great. The directing, and the thing is, I was really hesitant knowing Greta Gerwig and what she's directed before. A lot of very nuanced, more A24 type stuff. And then this, I was just like, wow. It was so good. I saw it in theaters twice. I probably watched it on Max like 3 or 4 times with my daughter. Um, it's yeah, love that film. Wish it would have been recognized more. I hope Hollywood pays attention to what they did. Because right now, a lot of Hollywood executives like, oh, we need to make more movies about toys. It's like, no, you missed the point. You need to make more movies that appeal to a wider audience, to people
and
who like
with social impact.
with social impact. Yeah, and then it's funny and engaging, and you got the whole Ryan Reynolds things at the Oscar. Not Ryan Reynolds. I'm sorry. Ryan Gosling at the Oscars doing the "I'm Just Ken," freaking hilarious, and you
That
can
was
watch
awesome.
that. And then at the same time, you have this huge social message about class and structure and chauvinism and sexism and the patriarchy. Like it was so good, and you came out like really having to think about things, and you were challenged, but you also laughed the whole time for all the right reasons. Yeah,
Yeah,
love that film.
I would have liked to see America Ferrera win Best Supporting. She has one of the best monologues
Mhm.
on screen that I've seen in a long time. I don't know if you know the one I'm talking about. That rant
Yeah.
of
Yep.
expectations
Yep.
and she was so brilliant in that. And I want the Oscars in Hollywood to really get behind those smaller roles, but have really
Mhm.
deep meaning, because that's important. It doesn't always have to be the lead in it having the most incredible, monologue or the
Yeah.
most incredible things to say. And I think Margot Robbie was amazing in Barbie, but that was an instance where I thought the role wasn't quite written in deep enough with enough depth and room for
Mhm.
her to really glow.
Yeah.
And so it was constrained because of the style of the story. So I think things that go to Oscars are ones that give you the ability, like what Emma Stone did, gives her the ability to take really big swings
Yep.
and
And take
do that.
risks. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's easy, just not easy, but it's easy just to play it the way everyone thinks you should play it,
Mhm.
or the easy way. But to take a big swing like that, like she does in that movie, and I think Mark Ruffalo's character was really good. I really like Poor Things, so um, I know we go back and forth. And then I love that I'm actually happy that you didn't like it. American Fiction. What'd you think of that? I'll wait for your answer. Did you see
Um,
it?
I have not seen American Fiction. I
All
have
right, put
not.
that on the top of your list.
I will.
That is smart. It's funny. It's Boston, which I
Yeah,
love.
I had every intention. I got to admit, my movie. I talked to my wife about this yesterday. My movie watching the last year, because of the stuff going on with the family, and then the strike happened, is so behind. And the thing is, I don't pay to go to the movies. I am a Movie Pass affiliate. They let me go see movies as much as I want to for free, which is so shameful. Like, I'm gonna go see Ghostbusters today, probably. And I'm gonna try to
Nice.
catch up on my movie going, because it's just shameful. Like, I used to literally go to the movies every day when I was in film school. I was like, go to class, go to a movie, go to my next class. That was what I did. And I always use the excuse of, oh yeah, I'm doing research for school.
Yeah.
But it actually really did help me as I was going to film school. It's only a few years ago.
That's the best
But
part of film school, is getting to watch movies as a
it's all you get to do, and then you get these like these screeners that only, like, now they have these screener stuff that for film schools, and you get to see all the stuff you can't find on other streaming services, and then you get to write reports and get presentations about it. It's great. I love it.
I had
But
a
I
class.
really need to catch up.
I really wasn't into sci-fi, but I had a class in college, and it was a study of sci-fi as a genre. And I just watched movies I would have never seen before,
Yeah.
and I studied them. It was like, how is we did a whole thing on how the future looks in different movies. Some super sterile and clean, Minority Report, right?
Hmm.
Then you look at Blade Runner, dirty, pollution,
Yep.
filthy. And one of the things we looked at was Starship Troopers,
Starship Troopers. Yeah.
Starship Troopers, which I think I watched the movie and I was like, yeah, it's an all right movie. Then I watched it in film school and I was like, oh my, I mean, there's some what if Nazis won the war thing. Did
Hmm.
we the whole thing where it's very, very, has a very Nazism way of their
Yeah.
military and everyone has to join and they're in Argentina. There's a lot to it. And it's just so much depth than just a movie about people shooting bugs.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I appreciate it much more than that.
I miss film school to a certain
Yeah,
extent.
well, American Fiction is really amazing. I would definitely suggest that. One of the things I want to do is, like, what do you watch when you're on planes, right? What's what can I think of when I'm on a plane right now? And I've been
Hmm.
on a lot. I pretty much only fly American Airlines in case they want to support the podcast. I exclusively really fly American, and at one point I think I've seen all the movies on there at this point, and but I was like, oh, God, one of the things, Master Gardener. It came out, it said 2022, and then I saw some dates said 2023. It's with Joel Edgerton and
Mm.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah. Movie never heard of, just flipping through. Unbelievable. This is what I didn't like about um Killers of the Flower Moon. In 10 minutes into the movie, you knew what the whole movie was about.
Oh yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
just watched it play out, but there was no real surprises. Let's be honest. Like, you kind of knew what the genre is and what the deal is with the movie. So I didn't discover anything new. And yeah, Lily Gladstone was a nuanced performance. She did fantastic. But one, I found the film kind of boring.
Oh
As I
yeah,
did
I'll
The
give you that.
Irishman too. Hey, I love Marty. Marty, I love you. If you want to put me in your movies, I'm in. But you know, there it's just a little long, and I just knew what was going to happen. Same with The Irishman. I found it just a little pedantic and drawn out. And so even if the actors were great in it, the story you already knew what was happening, and it's
Mhm.
like, well, how do you make something where, first of all, not a lot of people knew what happened in real life, but you take the Titanic when everyone knew the ending of it, and
Yep.
what does James Cameron do? He weaves this beautiful love story
Yes, he
into
does.
it, and there was an excitement. There was something to live for. I didn't feel that. I felt like, okay, now I have to watch the white man come in and destroy a
Mhm.
beautiful place for our Native Americans. And okay, now I have to sit here and watch this for 2 hours.
3
Like you
hours, 3 and a
knew,
half hours,
yeah,
yeah.
3 and a half, whatever it was.
Yeah,
So I'd like to find things more entertaining.
yeah,
But Master Gardener, or surprising, that was my point. Is I like
mhm,
when I'm surprised by stuff.
yeah. I wasn't actually a huge fan of Killers of the Flower Moon. I was a huge fan of Lily Gladstone's performance. I'm a huge
Yeah,
fan of hers as an actress. But yeah, that I mean, the ending of that film where Marty comes out and does, like, the radio show thing, it was so jarring. Like, it completely took me out. And the film as a whole, I really felt like it the film was originally about the founding the book that which was founded on was really about the founding of the FBI and how that case was the start of the FBI, which they kind of shoehorned in there at the end, the last hour, which wasn't good. And then there was just this feeling throughout the whole film that I felt like it wasn't I felt like it wasn't Marty's story to tell. And
yeah,
people can disagree with me with that. I felt like it would have been better served from a more from the Osage experience.
yeah.
Which
I
I
agree.
like he has great respect for them, and he's worked with the Osage a ton in getting this made. Um, I just felt he would have been better served at being an executive producer and finding
Yes.
a Native American director.
Yes, yes, yes. I agree. So there's a great interview with Denzel Washington. I think I don't know, it's that movie that he did that was based on a play, and it's like it's in his
Oh yeah, I
backyard. And
I remember
anyways,
that.
it was a junket interview for that, and the director, the person asked the question, asked Denzel why they felt it important to have a black director on it, and he said, I don't want to get into the whole thing, but he talks about, the it's about culture.
Hmm.
It's not necessarily like Spielberg directed Schindler's List.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
understood the culture of it, right? Marty did Goodfellas, right? Coppola, Godfather. And it's not about race or ethnicity, it's about culture.
hmm,
And so it would have been nice to have someone that understands the culture as
yeah,
part of it. And you're exactly right. Make it be an executive producer on it. Give someone a chance that otherwise wouldn't have a chance to do
hmm,
something like that, and use that the privileges we have to bring up people that necessarily don't have that.
yeah,
That's a great point, and I'm glad you brought it up.
yep,
Um,
yep,
and yeah, if you, I'll send you that video of Denzel because he's so brilliant and he's so poignant, and
yeah,
he explains. He says, "Look, Spielberg, Schindler's List." Could have Scorsese directed Schindler's List? Yeah, would have been a good
yeah,
movie. But
yeah.
it's the culture that
Well,
really,
it's the Oscars back in the '90s. I forget what year it was when Driving Miss Daisy won over Do the Right Thing. Do the Right Thing was directed by Spike Lee. Um, brilliant film, has had much more of a cultural impact, artistically, cinematography, everything was just way better. We had Driving Miss Daisy, fine film. It was a movie. You had two movies addressing race, one from a white director, and one from a black director. The black one, one from the black director has lasted the test of time. Whereas Driving Miss Daisy, it's almost like, yeah, Driving Miss Daisy. It's kind of a footnote now.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah.
I'm not telling people like, oh, like especially with my nephews, I realize that it's on me to tell them movies they may have missed. I
Mhm.
think I realized once they hadn't seen Good Will Hunting, and I was like, "Whoa, stop right now!" But I get it. It's like no one, if it wasn't film school, there were movies that I would have missed out
Oh,
on
yeah.
if it
Yep.
wasn't for someone telling me to check them out. There's so much out there
Yep.
that. Well, I'm gonna rip through a couple of movies that in the order that I like them. Um, American Fiction, awesome. Go see it. Poor Things, what a mind meld. If you're a vegetarian into mushroom, and vegetables and stuff like that, I would say it's an amazing movie when you have a nice crudité platter. Master Gardener, really surprising. Joel Edgerton is fantastic in it, and it's full of surprises nonstop. The Covenant, I'm trying to remember what that is. I think it was. I'm gonna look it up real because I've been working on this list for a while. I think I know what it is. It is, yeah, Guy Ritchie and Jake Gyllenhaal. It is and I read this, one of the more accurate. I haven't been in active combat, but it treats active combat with a sense of this is terrifying and not
Mhm.
necessarily cool. Not
Yeah.
so cool. We see a lot of things that glamorizes, all that.
Yeah.
This shows this, yeah, the Covenant. You got, Jake Gyllenhaal, really fantastic. Saltburn,
I wanted to
you
see
know,
that. I wanted to see
yeah,
that.
it has some. Don't watch it with like your parents in the room or your
Okay.
kids. There's some sexual depravity that makes it so French. It's like Call Me by Your Name. Do you remember that movie? I
Yep,
never
that
saw
tracks,
that.
that tracks.
With the peach scene. It's like that, but it takes it even a little further.
Okay.
And it's not the whole movie, but it's really good. It's really good. Saltburn, Origins. I thought that was a pretty rad movie. Um, it's it's structured unlike a movie you've never read or ever watched. I say read because it was a book. It was about a person writing a book, all true. But the way it weaved things in was really great. I really enjoyed it. Oppenheimer, that was on
Yeah.
there. I did it. We talked about that. Zone of Interest,
I've been wanting to see that. Yeah, they won for
best sound
best
and best
international feature.
screenplay. Yeah, that look, it's. I've seen pros and cons, but it's the Holocaust without really showing any Jewish people, and it's an interesting take on it. I mean, I feel like I've seen a lot of Holocaust movies, and I think it's important, and they all bring something new to an aspect to it.
Mhm.
And this one is a different aspect; it's a different perspective, but it uses sound to let you know something is happening on the other side of the wall without
Mhm.
showing you what's happening on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
What is life for the people that support that Auschwitz?
Mhm.
What is the structure of just like employees? It's very
Yeah.
strange. Really good. The Sound of Freedom. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I thought it was gonna be a little religious-y for me. It is about people going and releasing kids from the sex trade
Mhm.
and really making a huge impact on global sex trafficking. And it's based on a true story, I believe. It was really well done. I enjoyed it. It's an action movie, which is crazy. But
Huh.
Ferrari, Adam Driver. He's such
Yeah.
a beautiful human being visually and emotionally. I'd like to meet him someday.
He is his I'm surprised he hasn't, like, really been in talk for best actor in a lot of different things he's done.
Yeah,
He just goes full-fledged into all of his roles. I mean, even you go where he first got known, widely because of Kylo Ren, but even that performance, it I thought, obviously, I thought the sequel series of Star Wars definitely had some issues, but his performance was so solid. Then you've seen him do so much other stuff, small things, bigger things. I'm like, wow, like, yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think he's really fantastic. I actually was at a screening of Gucci, and they had the actors there, and Adam Driver didn't show up. I was the one, but I had Pacino, Lady Gaga, and Jared Leto
That's
in
not
the
bad.
same room. It was
That's not
awesome.
bad. Oh, that's awesome.
Uh, I mean, Pacino's he's fantastic. He's lost all his filters as he gets older. He just doesn't care. Not that he ever had a lot of filters, but Lady Gaga, as I like to call her, I'm a huge fan of her music, so that was cool. And Jared Leto was just, you know, and did you see Gucci? I'm not Gucci. Yeah,
Yeah, Gucci with Lady Gaga. Yeah, I saw it.
yeah.
Yeah.
His performance is. I didn't even know he was in the movie. Someone told me
Yeah.
after. They're like, Jared Leto was in the movie. I'm like, no, he wasn't. He's like, yeah, he's Enzo. I was like, okay.
Yep.
But I had a great time. That was one of the first theaters I was in after the pandemic was a SAG or DGA screening of that.
Nice.
And that was awesome.
Gosh, I wish I lived in LA sometimes. Like you don't get those. You don't get those outside of LA, New York. Those kind of
yeah. No, it's true. What else? I got Napoleon. It was pretty good. You know, I love Joaquin, and I love who was the producer there, the director, Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott, yeah.
I thought that. Did you see Napoleon yet? It's a long one.
I have not. I was going to, but then I saw the reviews come in. And I was like, I won't. The reviews it got hammered by the critics.
I don't like reviews. I generally disagree with a lot of them, so I watched it. It's nice. It's a good journey. All right, real quick, I'll list a couple. Dumb Money, which is out on streaming. I loved
Dumb Money. That movie was brilliant. Brilliant. Oh gosh. Everything about that, how it took in the crisis, the different perspectives coming together, how it talked about influencer culture. It was a brilliant film. I saw that in theaters twice. Brilliant.
Yeah. That's on streaming right now. The Adults. Michael Cera. I don't think anyone's seen this movie. It is a criminal that this movie, it's like the Seinfeld of a dramatic feature. It's not really about anything, but it is so good. There's a younger actress in there, and her name escapes me right now because I'm terrible with names. And she is just incredible, but all three of them. But The Adults, listeners, if you can go find it, I found it on a American Airlines flight, and I was just blown away. Michael Cera's performance is fantastic. It is fun. It is intense. It is deep, and it's not about anything. I mean, really, there's nothing major that happens in it. It's just existing. And I usually don't like that sort of stuff, but I loved it. And Michael Cera was fantastic in it. Obviously, Willy Wonka, I thought was super entertaining. I do like my dad test. Like, my dad he doesn't have the patience for movies. And so he needs to be entertained quickly. And that Willy Wonka, it pulls you right in. It
was fun.
Now, he had a smile on his face after the end of the movie.
Now, here's the thing about that. I did have one problem. The Keegan-Michael Key's character, who was the constable or the sheriff, the way they portrayed fatness plus size. I was the whole time. I'm like, what? Like, it was. They portrayed it as like this vice, and I was like, really? Come on.
It's the old joke. I will say they did it so cartoonish.
It was over the top,
which I think was better for it than it had it been just slight and subtle. Like, they did it so much that it was a cartoon version of it. But you're 100% right in what we're trying to portray there, and that and they're not wrong. Some people are large because they overeat, right? Mm-hmm. I've seen it. I haven't, in my life, I know about it, but not everybody that's large is because they overeat. A lot of us are exercising, eating good, and no matter what we do, our genetics are just predisposed. Yeah. And trust me, I'm fighting every day to fight that. So yes, I don't love the message behind it. I will say they made it so cartoony that it felt silly. But it's an old joke that we need to start cycling that out,
Yep. Like, he can't control himself. He just eats it like, and then he can't fit anywhere. Like, come on. Like,
yeah. No, it's a great point. And they, they may have had a better way to do something in a silly way, because it was just a silly thing. It didn't really affect the plot. Yep. Like, his character could have easily been doing something else. I don't know. Yep. Anyhow, yeah. The Holdovers, thought it was good. Everyone loved it. I thought it was good. I thought the performances were good. The story did take some turns. I enjoyed that. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Bored on a flight, decided to just watch it. I loved it.
I tend to avoid Tom Cruise movies now.
Yeah.
I do. I'm over. I don't know. I'm just over Tom Cruise. I feel like. I
Yeah.
just see Tom Cruise in something I'm like, yeah, I'll pass. I don't know why. I don't even know why. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the whole Scientology thing. I don't know, but yeah,
Yeah. I'm a, try to separate the artist and the art when it comes to, opinion of things. And I don't agree with like his personal life, but Tom might not agree with things in my personal life.
yeah.
I I don't, he's not doing anything. Well, arguably some of the stuff he's terrible. But as an actor, I love what he's doing on camera. I love
Mhm.
a lot of the stuff he does. I don't think there's a lot I haven't liked. I've been a fan since obviously Top Gun and Days of
Yeah.
Thunder, Few Good Men,
Cocktails,
Cocktail,
cocktails.
which they need to remake that, I think. Which brings you to Roadhouse. Have you seen Roadhouse? Came out last week. The new
No.
one, Jake
Oh,
Gyllenhaal.
that the oh no, I've been meaning to watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. Didn't go into theaters. Should have gone to theaters.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
the
a
director who
cinematic
yeah,
journey.
can't remember. It premiered at South by Southwest, and I can't remember who the director is. He directed The Bourne Identity. Um, but yeah, he
Yeah,
was going to forego it. And Amazon Prime got all mad because he was promised a theatrical release and got it. Didn't get it. They put it straight to streaming, and yeah, which that's unfortunately what a lot of studios are doing now. They're not giving these films the theatrical release; they're putting them straight to streaming. Which I would like to see a movie like that in theaters. Like
yeah,
my Amazon Fire Stick keeps previewing that trailer for me. I'm gonna watch it, but I'm like, this looks like something I want to see on a big screen.
yeah. What are you watching now? Well, I'll start with this. I just one of the things I'm watching now is New Look on Amazon, Apple TV. I love Ben Mendelsohn. He can do no
Mm-hmm.
wrong.
Yep.
I love him. I love him. I think he is a really underrated actor. Um, and I love anything that he's in, and he's in that. What are you watching right now?
Right now, getting kind of back into things with everything, getting all the streaming stuff getting back up. Went headfirst into Abbott Elementary, which I know that's a network series, but I love that show. Um, I just watched a film, and it's not on any streaming services. It was filmed on the Oregon coast. It has Daisy Ridley though. Sometimes I think about dying. So nuanced. It's kind of heady. Um, it, I didn't even know this was a thing until the Oregon Media and Production Association put out a screening about it that was in Bend. And I was like, wait, what? There was a film on the Oregon coast that had Daisy Ridley in it, and I didn't even know about it. It's so nuanced and just it's very Oregonian. I love that film. Just saw that. Um, yeah, and honestly, I haven't been watching. I'm super behind on things. My go to right now, I have my comfort food, which is Schitt's Creek. I've seen Schitt's Creek the entire series probably over a dozen times because we just put it on in the background
Yeah.
when things are
It
going
is a
on.
it is a great background show for sure. It's very funny. Constellations, Apple TV. I guess the Apple TV has been coming out quietly. They release stuff, and you're
Yes,
like, let me look at this.
yeah. There's one
Uh,
thing on Apple TV. It's called what is it? Oh, what is the show? I just finished it.
Describe it, and I'll tell you.
It's the one with the therapists.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, exactly that one. Great.
uh,
With Harrison Ford.
yeah, it has Harrison Ford.
Yeah,
Oh, what is it? Harrison Ford, the dude
I
from
was just talking about it yesterday with my wife too.
Shrinking.
Shrinking.
That the ending of that was so.
Yeah.
I freaking love Shrinking. Just finished that. I'm waiting for season
Yeah.
two. When is season two coming out?
Well, all right. Well, I'll
Currently in
tell you now.
production.
Follow the House of Usher. Watch it when the
Okay.
kids aren't around. It's not a family.
Mhm.
It's brilliant. I want to give everyone homework that Constellations. If you're into like an Inception kind of idea, with different worlds happening simultaneously, it's a good one. I'm trying to think what else right now. Anything else you want to promote that people should be watching?
Nothing particularly. I did want to shout. I did want to shout out. Sometimes I think about dying because it's just such a nuanced film. You're gonna have to like rent it from Amazon Prime. Unfortunately, though, it's not on streaming
Yeah.
right now. Um, but yeah, I would just say like get out in theaters, and go start. getting in there and actually watching these films. I'm actually getting ready to do a challenge. I'm not sure how I'm going to um, capture it, whether on Instagram or on YouTube. I'm going to do like a week of just watching and consuming physical media
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
my town has one of the only two Sam Goodies left in the nation. I'm 3 hours away from the last blockbuster. So for an entire week, I'm only going to listen to CDs, no Spotify, no streaming. I'm going to buy a CD player, only watch DVDs, Blu-ray, only
Yeah.
watch network TV over an antenna, and just see how that goes. Just because I miss the days of having a physical Blu-ray or DVD in my hand or a CD. I just want to see how that changes my watching habits, and that's something I'm getting ready to go into. Just because, like, I get so overwhelmed when I open up Netflix or Hulu or Mac. I mean, I get overwhelmed when I open up my streaming thing just because it's like, which service am I going to open up first to see what's on? And then I end up just going to Schitt's Creek because it's just too hard to make a decision.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm
Scr-
something. Go ahead.
no, Scrubs is something that I relive. I used to watch back in the day, and
Oh, I
there's
love
so many
Scrubs.
seasons that I just go back and do that. And Seinfeld's my sleepy show.
Yep.
Is something I put on in the background. Just it's
Yep.
light. No one yells a lot. There's not a lot of things. All right. Well, look, your homework, American Fiction.
American Fiction.
Track it down.
I've been wanting to watch that for. I wanted to see it in theaters.
Yeah, and Saltburn is pretty great. But and then if you can track down Master Gardener.
What's anything good in theaters right now?
No, I don't. I don't think so.
I'm gonna go see Ghostbusters probably today.
See, that's why I wish Roadhouse was in the theaters because it would be doing so well right now.
It would.
There's not a lot out there right now.
Yeah.
I drove by the theater here, and there's two movies I'd never heard of.
Yeah, there's Dune 2, which
I do want to see that, but I'll wait for streaming because I assume it's 3 hours.
And there's a new Godzilla versus King Kong coming out this week.
Not my thing, but
Kung Fu Panda 74.
Yeah. Hey, keep Jack Black working. He's a national treasure.
Yes,
you ever hear the story of his mom? You know the origins of his mom. She worked for the JLP, the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL. And she worked for NASA. And she was so good at math, she would figure out the telemetry of the shuttle that they'd have to do. That she figured out the equations on how to do it. And then it was Apollo 13 where they're having issues. And she had to solve their equation of how to get back into the atmosphere, something like that. She went into labor. Right. And she brought her notebooks to the hospital and then got on the phone and called them and figured out the telemetry they needed to re-enter the earth as she was giving birth to Jack Black.
Wow.
Like incredible.
A little bit of history. Wow.
Yeah. Look up that story because I'm sure I didn't do it justice. But well, look, I could talk movies and TV shows all day. Andy, it was great to see you. We're going to get our episode 2, which is technically our third podcast, if you count 0, soon. We'll talk very soon. And I want to talk more TV and film. One of the things I want you to think about, because I've been thinking about this a lot, and I don't think we have time today to do it, but what does it mean to be a man in our current societal things? I don't want to answer now, but I have some answers. I want to think about it, but chew on that. And I'd like to talk about that next time. Is there anything you want the viewers to watch, to listen to?
I've been listening to lately podcasts by Rhett and Link, the YouTubers, called Ear Biscuits, which is just two lifelong friends talking. And what I love about Rhett and Link is their background is very similar to mine. They were, in a religious background. They were, doing, ministry. They were pastors, and they got out of that and then got into like the influencer world, kind of like I did. Except they're like huge now, millions and millions of followers. Great podcast, Rhett and Link, Ear Biscuits. Love them to death. Nice. Check them out.
Yeah. Well, the last thing I'll say is if you haven't seen Fall of the House of Usher, anybody that is, I'm not a big horror guy. I'm a thriller guy. I'm a drama. If you can get through the horror, which it's not really horrible, it's more just creepy. But if you get through that, it's a really, really great show that I wish I heard more about because not a lot of people knew it. Well, I think that's it there, Andy.
We'll get episode 2 going this week. We'll have it all. We'll get it. We'll get a schedule.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
Oh yeah,
This will
it'll be
happen.
great. Lots to talk about, lots to do. I want to thank everyone for watching and for listening. As usual, you can follow us on Spotify and Instagram and all
Mhm.
that fun stuff. And I just want everyone to, treat the planet good, treat your fellow humans good, and take care of yourself. Put your mask on first before helping others. Remember that.
And go watch some movies.
And watch the movies. All right. Love you all. Andy, great to see you.
Later.
I want to thank Willie for producing. Thank
Producer
you.
Willie.
Will Nicholson doing it over there. And yeah, if that's going to do it, then I want to thank everyone. And we will see you next time on Big Dude Energy. Willie, play us out.